Alaska, a land of promise, a land of mystery, and the first home of Orthodoxy in the Western Hemisphere. It was in this vast land of amazing contrasts that Orthodox missionaries first faced the challenges of bringing the Word of God to the native people of North America. In the next few minutes, you will learn how Orthodoxy has grown in Alaska and what problems the early priests and monks had to overcome. You will also learn how many of these problems are still with us today, on a larger scale to be sure, but basically the same. You will be introduced to St. Innocent's Cathedral in Anchorage and shown why the church has become the focal point of Orthodoxy in Alaska. And finally, you will learn how you can help in the important missionary work of St. Innocent's as it becomes a parish for all Alaska. Alaska appeared on the world scene rather late. Although Russian trappers and traders had heard the natives in Siberia talk about this great land to the west, they were never able to locate it. Eventually, Vitus Bering, a Danish sea captain in the Russian Navy, sailed into Prince William Sound on July 20th, 1741, and claimed the land for Russia. During the next 126 years, a steady stream of adventurers, trappers, administrators, explorers, and priests left an indelible mark on the native population. The strongest influence came from the priests and monks, especially after a delegation of 8 monks arrived in Kodiak in 1794. Among the group was Monk Herman. He was strongly moved to bring orthodoxy to the native Aleuts, but knew they needed more. Therefore, in addition to teaching them the faith, he showed them the art of carpentry, instructed them in agriculture, and encouraged their native crafts. His love of the native people showed itself through his teachings, especially to the children. He founded a school and an orphanage, and was considered a living saint by those to whom he ministered. Nearly 200 years later, Monk Herman became the first saint ever consecrated in the Americas. There have been 3 additional monks within the Alaskan ministry who have also been consecrated as saints. St. Juvenali, who is part of the original delegation with St. Herman, St. Peter the Aleut, the first native Alaskan to be canonized, and St. Innocent. St. Innocent arrived in Unalaska in 1820. A dynamic servant, he towered over 6 feet, and his energy to serve impressed the native people. He was also a patient teacher and student. He learned the native languages in order to better serve his flock of Aleuts, Tlingit, and Eskimo people. St. Innocent was also a builder. Working with the natives he trained, he built the Church of the Ascension of Our Lord in Unalaska, as well as the first cathedral in America at Sitka. During his administration from 1840 to 1867, St. Innocent guided the Orthodox mission through its first major period of growth, increasing the number of churches from 4 to 9, building 35 chapels and the cathedral in Sitka. Throughout this period, and in fact during the whole of the early mission era, the challenges facing the early priests were much the same as the church encounters today. And the challenges grow from the same source, the unique nature of this great land, Alaska. When you first see this northern giant, you are immediately struck by its size. Alaska is so large, it actually occupies both the western and eastern hemisphere. A map of Alaska superimposed on a map of the contiguous United States would touch both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, as well as the Canadian and Mexican borders. From north to south, Alaska measures about 1,400 miles. From east to west, about 2,700 miles. And Alaska boasts of 50% more seacoast than all the continental United States, some 33,904 miles. And the seacoast is washed by 2 oceans and 3 major seas. Alaska could be considered a subcontinent, possessing an amazing variety of climates. You'll find Arctic plains, great forests, glaciers, broad valleys, imposing mountains, including the highest mountain in North America, active volcanoes, 12 major river systems, 3 million lakes, and countless islands. It is the beauty of the state that also creates the problems. The distances to be traveled, the climate and geography. They are in general as much a problem today as during the times of the early priests and monks. Yet the Orthodox mission continues to move forward. However, the tremendous growth Alaska has experienced in the past 20 years has strained the Church's ability to meet all the needs of the faithful. It has taken the foresight and dedication of all priests, and especially Bishop Gregory, to bring the Church into step with the needs of the Orthodoxy. But there is much more to be done, and no one is more aware of this than Bishop Gregory, who has guided the Church through its most recent growth.
When I came to Alaska in 1973, and I was ordained as a bishop here in Alaska at St. Michael's Cathedral in Sitka, I found that the church was in a very sad state. We still had as many villages, thousands of people as Orthodox, but we had only 10 priests at the time. 10 priests, of which 6 already are deceased, and from the 10, we had only 4 or 5 being seminary educated people. One of them was Father Nicholas Harris, the head of the church in Anchorage.
Having been here about 19 years now, when we first came, there was no church. And we didn't have the realization of the great need for a church and for a priest until we were here just a short time. And we found out, with the hospital facilities being here, a hospital that takes care of the people from all over the state, and the many problems that people have in economics and other ways, all of the people coming here to Anchorage, we realized very suddenly that the need for a priest was tremendous. And it's because of this need that we go on, because much has to be done to build up the life of the church here in Anchorage, to meet the spiritual needs of all of the people of Alaska.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
The clergy in Alaska is continually faced with unique challenges, which result in some out-of-the-ordinary approaches to everyday ministry. Father Harris, for example, serves a deanery which in geographical size is larger than some dioceses. This means not only working at Anchorage, but also flying bush planes to remote towns and villages. And this unique type of ministry means holding a secular job as well.
My usual day begins at 5 o'clock in the morning, when I get up and then go to drive a school bus to take many children to school. It seems that this is not unusual, because many of the priests in Alaska do have to seek secular employment in addition to whatever they receive from the church. After doing this, then there are services, or if there aren't services, then it's very usual to go to the hospital to visit the sick, to counsel people in the course of the day, to have meetings into the night, so that days are very long but well spent, because the feeling is that much is accomplished in the course of a day.
And much needs to be accomplished, especially when it comes to educating the young. And the church has taken bold steps in this area.
Our young people, young boys and young girls yet have very limited access to the higher education. We inspired them. We needed to educate young people to become servants of the church as priests, as deacons, readers, choir directors, Sunday school teachers. We opened St. Herman Seminary.
We feel that in the seminary, we not only have to prepare priests for the Alaska Diocese, but we have to prepare leaders. Many of our students come, we're at 100 and some that have finished the readers course and have gone back to their communities, and we hope they go back as leaders in their communities. Some of them are alcohol counselors, trained here in the seminary. Some of them are working with the native corporations. Some of them are teaching in school. And the work that they're doing back in their communities is great. And this is our thrust, to be able to take people, prepare them for positions of leadership, and send them back into the bush.
At present time, we have already 26, 27 priests already inactive. We have few priests that are in a pension or on sick leave. We have 3 deacons that also active. And as I say, practically in every village, we have now a reader, choir director, Sunday school teacher, those that graduated from St. Herman Seminary.
Once a student graduates and returns to his own community, it becomes evident very quickly that every Orthodox parish in Alaska must lean heavily on St. Innocent's in Anchorage. Anchorage is Alaska's largest city, and over half the state's population lives within its broad boundaries. It's a modern, bustling city nestled between the rugged Chugach Mountains and the Cook Inlet in south-central Alaska. Although the area was discovered in the late 1770s by the English sailor, Captain James Cook, no community sprang up until construction began on the Alaska Railroad in the early 1900s. Since that time, Anchorage has seen one growth period after another. Until today, it is the hub of Alaska. Virtually every economic activity in the state involves the Anchorage business community. The city has also become the transportation center of the state. Almost every private or commercial flight lands at one of the city's major airports. In addition, Anchorage is a state and federal government center, and all major medical facilities are in the city, including the Alaska Native Hospital. St. Innocent is greatly affected by this economic and social fact of life in Alaska. Throughout the year, villagers from all over the state come to Anchorage, and they rely on St. Innocent's to help them. Help that is gladly given, even though it strains the resources of the existing small facilities. And as the demand for assistance increases, the church itself must reach out for help.
We need something in Anchorage, which is this political center, economical center in Alaska. As we say, all roads lead to Anchorage. And in Anchorage, we have to have our religious center. So we could bring children to the school. We can have a library. We could have educational facilities over there and give them possibility to grow up to be good Orthodox people. The future of Orthodoxy in Alaska actually will depend on how much care we can give to our children. In villages, in all 84 villages and parishes and chapels that we have in Alaska, we have probably thousands of children and of different ages. And we do not have enough teachers, we do not have enough priests, we do not have enough readers to teach them, to take care of them religiously. The future of the Orthodox in Alaska will depend on that.
This long tradition of education for both young and old alike requires continuing dedication. And although St. Innocent's has made excellent progress, the present facilities are unbelievably stretched, almost beyond their capacity to adequately serve the everyday needs of the parish. Overcrowding is a rapidly growing problem. Yet the membership deals with this adversity as best it can, with ingenuity and humor.
I do teach and participate in adult education. In the nave here, you'll find us dividing it into 4 sections and trying to teach children, teenagers, and adults. I recall one year I had to use the kitchen to teach, the teenage group.
Yes, I'm looking forward to have a bigger kitchen so we could do more cooking and help with the finances of building the church. Right now, the kitchen is so small, there's barely enough for just about 4 ladies, I suppose.
One of the major problems the church in Alaska has always faced is financial. Today's needs are greater than ever because of the slowdown in Alaska's growth. The boom days of the pipeline era are gone. Construction has slowed, the timber market is weak, and fishing is in decline. The bush feels the impact of these changes more quickly than the city due to the high cost of living in rural areas and the seasonal nature of employment.
Other problems that we always faced, and the Orthodox Church always faced throughout its 200 history, is financial material. 70% of the people in the summer are on welfare. Although we need material, we need heating, we need light, we need buildings, we need books, and we do our best. And we're progressing in this.
Despite the financial progress made during the past few years, the needs of the church remain great, especially in Anchorage, where the ministry to the faithful goes well beyond the boundaries of the city, serving any parishioner who is in need during their stay in Anchorage.
We supply and support people from all over. Therefore, the mainstay, or a lot of the people, are not people who do have regular jobs. You are getting people here that come in who are on welfare, come in because they're ill, come in for death, come in for education, and we have to support, supply, and take care of these people. You know, we get no funding from other sources except what our own mainstay people, give. 80% of the people, that we talk to and the people that we help are people from around the state. On the whole, very few telephone calls are from our own people in here. I think, we really are a church for all of Alaska.
I've been a priest for 15 years, and I have been a pastor of about 5 villages, and I have found that one of the problems that we have are the young people moving from the villages to the urban society, especially Anchorage. And a lot of them look for a job in the large city, but without training, they have a very hard time, and some of them make it, but some of them don't. For the young people who leave the villages, St. Innocent's Orthodox Church is a stabilizing factor, and it's very similar to their village churches, so that they are able to relate to this, and it helps them make an adjustment here in the city.
For the Orthodox in Alaska, Anchorage has become a central location for hundreds of villagers who must visit the city annually. These visitors look upon St. Innocent as their religious center while in the city. They realize the need for larger facilities because they have first-hand experience with the varied ministries of the church. And they are doing whatever they can to see the cathedral in Anchorage take shape.
I come from a parish of the Antiochian Orthodox Archdiocese of North America, which is the archdiocese established initially in this country to serve the persons of Arabic origin, of Syrian and Lebanese origin. As a matter of fact, the interesting thing and the reason why we have such an affinity towards St. Herman and towards the Church of America here in Alaska is that the first bishop serving the Syrian Arabs in this country was a bishop of the Russian Church. We're especially interested and concerned about the work going on in the construction of St. Innocent Church in Anchorage, because of course St. Innocent himself was a canonized saint of the Orthodox Church who served in America for so many years and helped to missionize this whole area. The church structure itself is one that all of Orthodoxy in North America will support.
The missionary efforts of St. Innocent's have increased tremendously over the past 10 years, yet the needs have grown even faster, causing continuing slowdowns in the construction of the cathedral.
We've had many frustrations, many problems, and even disappointments. But now we have the materials, we have the paving, the foundation walls are up, and we're hoping very soon to begin the construction of the superstructure. This is what we're really looking for. Our dream will come true in having the proper facilities to take care of the needs of all of our people. What we're asking for is the blessings of all of our bishops, our priests, all the faithful of the church throughout America and Canada, so that we can build this beautiful edifice, that this church will once again be the church that St. Herman identified himself with in bringing the good news of salvation to the Alaska Native people. In establishing this cathedral, it will be more than a cathedral. It will be a real Christian center where our young people will be educated, where there will also be adult education. We hope in time that a convent will be added, a bishop's residence, that people will be accommodated in coming from the bush areas, that will be able to truly take care of the spiritual needs of all the Alaska Native people. Anchorage is the hub of Alaska. There's more than 300,000 people in this area, which is more than half of the population of the state. And so our needs are very great. But the future is very bright in that we've already begun. Our church will have a beautiful commercial kitchen. We know that Orthodox people have always found that the kitchen is a great source of revenue, and our ladies are very willing to work, and they'll be able to do much with that kitchen. We'll have 5 classrooms to take care of the needs of our young people, as well as to have adult education. Perhaps for the first time in my 25 years as a priest, I'll have an office above the ground, and one that will have dignity in that I'll be able to receive people into that office. We'll also be able to have a choir loft. We have a beautiful choir, perhaps one of the better choirs in Alaska. Our church reminds us of the grotto of the Nativity in Jerusalem, because instead of stepping up, we have to step down into a back door to squeeze ourselves into a very small area, which is much, much too small for the many people that we are trying to accommodate.
Larger facilities will not only meet the growing spiritual needs of the congregation, but will also provide needed space for traditional social gatherings.
And every Sunday, the Sisters of St. Innocent have a bake sale, and we sell cakes, pies, cookies, you name it, we have everything. And we try to raise money like that too. And hopefully that helps.
We really need to have this church built up, because to me, once it's built up, even our younger generation, which they say are lost out there in the world, I have a feeling that they will be back in their own church.
I contribute in excess of $200,000 to forward the building of the cathedral, because I think it's a great need in a state. Most of the parishioners are natives Alaskans, and they don't have the money to build it. I hope we see that building going up soon. The foundation is there, the lumber is there, the pavement is there, the planes, we have them, you know, we just need some money to finish it now.
Anchorage, as a hub of the entire state, is also a great hub and a great center of the Orthodox Church. And for our church, we look to Anchorage for a spiritual guidance, and certainly we need the church in Anchorage. To have a cathedral in Anchorage is not just a wishful thinking, it's a necessity. The clergy in the cathedral, and certainly St. Father Nicholas, has been tremendous. He has probably met more Native Alaskans than any other priest in the Alaskan diocese, with the exception of His Grace Bishop Gregory. He visits the hospitals from all areas, all communities. They come into Anchorage for one thing or another, and if they're not in the church, they're visiting the doctor, they're asking for his prayers. They come in communities where the priest hasn't visited for several years. They'll come to Anchorage for baptisms. They'll come into Anchorage for weddings. And it just seems that at the time of Baranoff and at the time of St. Innocent, Sitka, the Pearl of the Pacific, was the place for St. Michael's Cathedral and the see of the diocese. However, at this time, even though Sitka is certainly going to remain the cathedral city, the need for a cathedral and a church in Anchorage is so self-evident to anyone that lives here. And certainly our people always go to Anchorage, and as soon as they come in, there's that tendency to call Father Nicholas, what time are services? Sometimes, do you have a way of bringing me in? Can you pick us up? Can you have someone bring us? But the move, the drawing of the Anchorage church is very, very strong. So we all look forward to the day when we're going to have St. Innocent's Cathedral not only finished as a building, but that it'll continue in its spiritual endeavors, it's going to continue in its missionary endeavors, and we look forward to a great future of having it answered or take care of many of the needs of our faithful.
The new cathedral will serve another mission field as well, that of the tourist. Each year, thousands of travelers from all over the world visit Alaska, and naturally that means Anchorage. Many of these travelers are Orthodox and would certainly visit the cathedral not only as a tourist attraction, but also as a place of worship while away from home. However, the dream of a new cathedral may remain in the future without help. The building season is approaching, and without additional funds, construction will not begin in 1986, which means that another year will go by without the new cathedral, which is so vital, especially today, as the Alaskan economy slows even further, which in turn places increased burdens on the church in Anchorage as it reaches out to be a parish for all Alaska.
Presently, we have some 500 people that we could really call parishioners. However, in Anchorage, there are some 2,500 to 3,000 Orthodox people. So the need to reach all of these people is very, very great. And with the new building, with proper facilities, we'll be in a much better position to do that.
All production services and materials were donated by TCS Video Production Center and Beaumont Productions Company. For information or to make an offering, write to this address, St. Innocent Orthodox Cathedral, 6724 East 4th Avenue, Anchorage, Alaska, 99504.